Yeah, I'm pretty stupid, I guess. But anyways. All right. What is up, guys? We are doing a NEACE Gets Coached today. What we're going to do is I'm going to have my friend ARIBO, who is a very, very high elo Udyr player. He's one of the best Udyr players in the world. He's going to coach me on Udyr. It's going to be good times. I know Udyr a little bit, so he's going to coach me on this champion, make me even better at it. And then we're going to go into a game and see if he can live coach me to victory, okay? So let's get after it. Should be a lot of fun. ARIBO, what up?
Hey, what's up, NEACE?
What's up, bro? So, yeah. I am pretty excited about this because I've played. You found me because you're watching the stream, and you were the one originally giving me little pointers here or there, but we never did an official like coaching. So I was always just kind of winging it, and I've had tons of questions for you about this champion over the past year or so anyways. So I thought it'd be fitting to give you a shout out and work together. So for the people that don't know you, why don't you give a quick introduction, elevator pitch on who you are, elo, all that.
I've been playing League for quite a long time, I think like season 3. And I got Challenger back in the day and also recently on EU West. And I played mostly Udyr over the years. I think the only season I didn't play Udyr that much was 6. He got really gutted, and 7 a bit. And I play a lot of other champions. I got higher elo even without Udyr. It's just like my main iconic champion, like my persona or whatever. I coached a few pros and stuff like that on Udyr, specifically when he got popular for pro play, obviously. It was like about a year ago.
Sweet. So
that's about it.
No, I mean, realistically, I don't want to undersell your accomplishments because, in my opinion, up until like last, I don't know, you said when it was popular, the pro meta, I think that was like about a year and a half, 2 years ago. I remember thinking to myself, there is no way this champion can play to high elo. And that was actually when I found one of your accounts that was playing it. And that's what kind of got me down the rabbit hole of this, this full clear style. And it also helped my coaching immensely because at the time I was teaching clients different champions, and Udyr was one of the champions that popped in quite a bit. So before we get into the game and you do the live coaching, I think the best way to proceed here is maybe we both jump in the practice tool and you do a quick rundown of important stuff that people probably don't know about Udyr. And like I challenge every person that does the NEACE Gets Coached to basically show me something that I did not know with Udyr. Is it possible for you to teach me something that I did not know with Udyr?
The stuff that you can do on Udyr is with the spells, it's usually not that straightforward, I would say. Because sometimes you can do stuff which I usually do to maximize my damage. I start the fight with R and I like kind of ghost the guy or blue smite just because I know that I need that amount of damage to kill it to create like a lethal. If you get what I mean.
So and yeah, show it.
You see I have my 3 stacks ready, whatever. And imagine I ran up to the guy, and after I use my auto attack, then I'm limited in my choice of spells because you can't use all of them at the same time because obviously they have a global cooldown between the spells, right? So sometimes I will give up on, for example, using W just to get more damage out, or not even use the stun at all, just so I get the maximum amount of stats, because like I said, it's just the cost of the time, because there's 2 seconds between each ability. And that's a little subtle, like stuff that you can talk about the champion because other players just won't think about this stuff. So I just wanted to kind of share it.
No, that's good. I mean, that's good to know. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's kind of a combo thing. Like if I start the fight like this, for example, then, well, sometimes I will just throw it in W and not even use E at all. Maybe I have ghost up, maybe I just don't need the stun, maybe I just need extra damage or the tankiness, or I just won't use W at all. And obviously, you probably know this when you play Udyr. It's just a small tip for everyone watching this video. Just you always want to start the fight with W, if you want to like just stun the guy at the start, because he's gonna stack your passive. You get the shield up, which is kind of like Malphite passive in a way, because you basically have it up by the time you get in range. You know what I mean? And then you
I
just
actually don't do that.
You don't do that?
No.
That's actually really fucking bad.
I actually don't.
That's really bad.
I'll own it. I will own it. No. You watch me play this champion. I swear to you, like, I think the only reason that I was winning with it, honest to God, part of the reason I brought you in here is because I didn't even want to think about these abilities at all. Like, I never even thought. I'm telling you right now, I pretty much always opened E. I pretty much always just ran at people and E'd. I don't think I ever walked at a fight. No bullshit. I don't think I ever walked at a fight and went, I'm going to press W before this fight. I swear to God. I'm kind of embarrassed.
I mean, I don't want to be a fucking basement scientist or something here, but since we brought up the Woody, I just want to get the nitty gritty, you know?
Yeah, no,
but,
that's good.
This is very standard because I open, you know, LEC when Woody was played or whatever, and they wouldn't do this, like just press W, which is pretty simple. You get a stack, and well, you go in with T, you press R, and then you have your W back up, you know, like.
Yeah, well, you
like,
see what you just said though. You see what you just said. It's like it's almost like it's not intuitive. Like, this is the reason that I do these, right? Because to you that's obvious, right? Like, you've just been playing the champion, it just makes sense. I swear to God, I never opened a fight with W. I'm pretty sure you could go to any of my VODs where I've happened to play Udyr, and I'm pretty sure you would watch me run in. I bet I'm gonna challenge my editor. Editor, find an old Udyr game of me ganking. I bet I never did it. I bet I never do it. And so what you're saying is,
just like walk in the lane and have like W up, and then just the only difference is that you press W at the start.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
or if you don't have W,
obvious.
if it's like really early, you can press R or Q depending on.
So basically what you're saying is, because you're not involved in the fight anyways, it's just giving you a stack essentially for free because you weren't going to use it in the fight ever anyways, right?
Yeah, and the shield is 5 seconds, which is very long for a shield. Like, you know, most shields are like 2-3 seconds something, but Udyr is 5 seconds, so you'll have it up just getting free HP there. Maybe you have to take a 2v2 or whatever, you just take it. It's always good, like it doesn't go wrong.
I see. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty stupid, I guess. But anyways, let's keep it moving then. Let's keep it moving.
There are not really a lot of advanced mechanics, except like maybe you can hit a plant or whatever with W or R. Like R gets consumed on the plant, W gets as well, so you can heal off plants sometimes, but Q doesn't.
Okay.
And sometimes this just helps clearing a bit, but for example, if you want to Q while walking to the camp just to prepare it, and you jump, you can still hit the blue buff, you still maintain the stacks, but if you use R, you'd waste it on the plant, and then you're like...
I did not know that.
I guess you can spawn jungle camps here.
You can spawn the plants somewhere. There's an option. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Game's bad though, so
apparently
it might not work.
Doesn't work.
Yeah.
Apparently it doesn't work. It's fine.
Oh, there it is.
It finally worked. So, like, obviously, usually when you play Udyr, you want to prepare your R or Q depending what you max, usually while entering the camp, just to clear faster, because you'll have the passive. But if you hit the plant with R, you'll waste it and then you miss all the damage. If you hit it with Q, you don't consume it. You can
I
also
didn't know this, dude.
heal.
I did not know.
You can also kill people of words. I actually had a funny clip. I was playing against a Singed, and he warded in this bush. He was in the alcove, and I hit the ward with R and killed him. Yeah, stuff like that.
So wait, it goes over the wall. It goes over the wall.
Yeah, it goes over the wall. I mean, the range on this is like 625 or something. I get a lot, like pretty often I get kills like hitting minions or hitting towers, stuff like that happens. It's pretty big.
Spawn a dummy like behind us.
I was gonna do that actually.
Yeah.
Might be. Yeah, it's pretty big as you can see.
That's roughly the range there. Doesn't go much further than that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Cool.
That was pretty much max range,
Yeah. That's max range. Cool. Excellent. No, dude, that's actually a really good tip. I did not know about the way that it works with the blasting plant. That's awesome. That's awesome.
I guess we could talk about the builds and stuff now.
Yeah,
because there are a lot of builds, and I can explain them pretty simple actually.
Yeah, you could do it in the shop right here. I mean, that would probably be the good way to do it. You just give yourself a shit ton of gold, and we go over this because I'm gonna pull up your match history. Is that the Full Clear Titan account that you're still on? Is that you? I assume that's you.
Yeah, I didn't play League that much this season, but...
Well, yeah, but the thing is it's a good account because you're obviously playing in Master on the account, right? But the reason I wanted to pull it up was because your builds are always really varied. This is why I said I was going to talk about builds with you today, because you have a lot of builds. Like here, you're doing press the attack, then you might do lethal tempo, then you might go conqueror, then you might go like you have like I said a really interesting mind for builds, and then all of your items change. I see like pretty much as I scroll through here, I see like every item in the shop. It's like the thrift shop. So if you wanna explain the logic for the different builds and like what we will go, that could be cool.
We can start with the runes, I guess.
Sure.
That's
I'm down.
Yeah, a lot of people ask about that too. You know, a lot of people used to run phase rush, but that's kind of a dead thing nowadays. Everyone that plays Udyr here and there, even casually, they go like little tempo.
Let me do something here. Let me share my screen with you, and you pull it up, and we'll talk about the runes, and I'll have it on the page so that they can kind of visually, you know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of noobs that watch these, so maybe we should make it a little bit.
Okay, so you know, everyone knows about phase rush Udyr. It's like the classic. But the thing about phase rush is that it does two things. The first thing is that it offers you disengage. So for champions like Gragas, Ryze, they might be really annoying to engage on a fight, right? But I don't think Udyr cares about that as much, unless you really care about being annoying, but that's just not really the purpose of the champion, unless you're playing like 3-2G split push in top lane sideline or something. And then the second thing would be to stick to the target, which would be like how Xin used to use it, or Nunu, or whatever, you know, like Xin would take it to get his third auto take off for the knockout. But also Udyr doesn't need that because he has very high base movement speed and a spammable stun, which is instant. It's generally like really sticky. You don't have problems sticking to a target once you get on it. And then I think the sorcery tree is a little mediocre. Like not a lot of champions even use those runes. Like if you think about Nimbus Cloak, it's mainly for smite. So you get like 5% for 2 seconds, and if you think about that in terms of actual value, you get about 40 units, 40 range from pressing smite. And obviously for like ghost or flash, it's a bit redundant. If you flash stun, you flash stun. If you press ghost, you press ghost. Like Nimbus Cloak doesn't change much in my opinion.
Got it.
You can obviously get a lot more units or movement speed, whatever, from unflinching, which gives tenacity, slow resist, whatever. Like this rune usually gives more movement speed than celerity, water walking, and Nimbus Cloak combined for a champion library, because you're gonna get CC'd no matter what. If they have CC, if they don't have, then you have other options anyway. Because I prefer the combat power to actually have more stats from Conqueror, Little Tempo, PTA, which have like just a lot of numbers on them, while the phase rush thing, it was just utility, you know?
Got it.
Anyway, hope I didn't over-explain it a bit, but just wanted to break down the phase rush sorcery, whatever, because a lot of people are like, why don't you go phase rush?
Well, it used to be popular for a bit.
Yeah, it used to be popular. I think phase rush and Nimbus Cloak got nerfed a bit too.
Yeah.
And celerity is pretty, like, it's like okay, but it's pretty bad, and then water walking is like pretty conditional. Because, you know, conditioning is also a bit conditional. You need to wait 12 minutes, but then you get permanent resists, which are pretty OP on Udyr, because he has like an infinite multiplier of shielding, healing, whatever, you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'd rather have that over water walking or something. And then for the keystones, I go Conqueror when they have like melee champions, bruisers, tanks, whatever, stuff like that, where you can easily stack Conqueror and keep the stacks. Because after they nerfed it, they made it so that it's a bit harder to keep the stacks. And then if it's hard to keep the conqueror stacks, if they have like range champions, kiting, whatever, I'll go little tempo, because the little tempo stacks last for longer and they also decay one by one. When you lose the conqueror stacks, you lose all of them at once, but for the little tempo stacks, you keep them for a longer time, like they just decay every second or something, I think.
Got it.
And you also get extra auto tech range, so that also helps against kiting. So basically Conqueror is for melee champs, Little Tempo is usually for range champs with kiting, AD carries supports the Lulu, Jinx and stuff. And then PTA is really good if the fights are super short, you play against assassins, maybe your team has a lot of damage, you're gonna kill them in a few hits anyway. They have like, I don't know, Zed jungle, Kiana, stuff like that. It's really good, so you kill them fast. And it also helps a bit if they have like one tank or something. Then you can just play front to back and your team kills him faster.
Interesting. I like this logic a lot because I'd always wondered why you were doing this, and it's nice to hear you explain it like this, because I was like, why the fuck is he taking these? But you've simplified it pretty cleanly here, so now I understand.
Yeah, and obviously I take conditioning because it gives the most durability possible. It's just like the most efficient rune in League overall for like bruisers, tanks, whatever. Same with unflinching, and if I don't need unflinching, I will take revitalize. Unflinching really shines with the slow resistance. Like I really switch them up. Sometimes I go alacrity with unflinching, tenacity with unflinching, or like alacrity with revitalize.
I do this a lot too. I do this a lot too, where it's
yeah,
like...
it really depends. Obviously, alacrity is really good. It also feels good. It makes the champion smoother. When they have like hard CC, mainly stuns, you should probably go for Legend Tenacity and Mercs combination. But if they have like mainly slows or weird CC, you can go for unflinching alacrity. And sometimes they have like Veigar Zilla or something, you can just go unflinching, Legend Tenacity, Mercs, everything. Because it's gonna help a bit. But most people don't know there's actually a cap on tenacity. It's like a coding thing. I think there's like a server tick rate, and they are kept at like something between 0.3 to 0.5 CC.
I believe it.
So you
I
can
believe
really
it,
reduce it. You can really reduce it below that. I think it's on a wiki or something. It's like, I don't even know if it's intended or a bug, but yeah, it's a bit kept. So if they don't have longer CCs, it's not worth to go for everything that gives tenacity, because then you'll still get stunned for the same duration.
Yeah, it doesn't change as much.
Yeah.
Sweet. So at the end there, is it normally just last stand? I guess if you're doing like press the attack, you're probably going for coup, and then if you're doing like...
yeah, I usually go for last stand, but I think Kurgara is decent as well, yeah, especially for PTA. The thing is that on junglers, Kurgara is just a bit better because it makes your ganks stronger. Just the champion Woody generally likes last stand a bit more. And it's generally a bit of a better rune, especially with how he plays. If you are something like, I don't know, Nocturne or whatever, obviously Kurgara is almost always better, but not really for Woody.
Sweet.
And I always take the HP per level rune ever since it got buffed, because after a few levels you already get the same EHP around at level 5, 4. It only really helps a bit on the full clear, but if you do it properly, you have full HP anyway. So I just like that a lot more. It's very impactful. Like it won me so many games just having more health in mid game. It's just a really good rune, I think, and I think I would take it on every jungler. It got buffed pretty hard, and obviously 6 armor, 8 MR, it's not that much. You're not laning, so you don't have to worry about it.
Sweet, yeah, and it's pretty easy to clear nowadays too, it feels like.
Yeah. Basically heal off camps on most junglers.
Okay. And I guess, yeah, now that we've gone over that, I guess you should go and show some of the items that you build and why. And then we'll jump into a game, yeah?
Yep.
All right. Sweet.
Yeah, so this is the most popular build that like most 2D players use now, which is Sunfire Cape. The thing about Sunfire is that I usually build it when I can stack it. If you can't stack it, it's not that good, because if you read the item, it says that it takes about 6 seconds or something. Yeah, it says max stacks 6, so you need 6 seconds to stack this item, and then it starts doing the burn on every auto attack. I guess I could show, like, the damage on the tooltip goes up, and then it caps at 6 seconds, and you start burning them every auto attack, like kind of a DOT. It shows up here as well, and it's kind of a broken item. It's a bit slept on. Like, people really underestimate it, or champions building it. I think you see even Baus. If you watch Baus, he plays Cyan, gets this item, which also scales with health on Cyan, and then he right clicks them with Sunfire and they die to the birth.
Yeah, I think it's really good. It's really good on Baron too. One of my buddies plays Scion and he does Sunfire, and every time he goes to Baron, I'm always kind of impressed with how much damage it's doing.
I'm gonna talk about that as well a bit.
Cool.
But you go for this if you know that they aren't gonna buy that much MR, because if they buy MR, if your team is really AP heavy, then you won't get that much value of it, and you can get more value out of other items. I'll talk about it next. Yeah, so the thing is that you can bait people a bit with Udry, especially because you can tank objectives forever. You can have your Sunfire stacked, and the Sunfire does about 350% or something of its damage when it's stacked, compared to the first tick. So it's just a huge amount of damage. If you initiate a fight, while you have this stacked on the objective, you will kill them a lot faster, and you can do it especially on Baron. I mean, I don't have many levels or items here, but Udyr can tank Baron pretty much forever, stay at full HP, even heal off Baron. So you can kind of bait the enemy team, have Sunfire stacked, they go into the fight, contest the Baron, you'll still be like full HP, and then you can kill them with the Sunfire stacked. It does, like I said, it does a lot more damage. Like, can almost literally one-shot squishes with like double R proc and Sunfire stacked. It's like a hidden thing, and obviously the enemy team will never think about it. Like, I think I was in a few games, I thought about this Science stacked Sunfire on Baron, maybe I shouldn't die to him, but no one thinks about that, trust me. Like legit no one.
Yeah. So it's definitely it's a weird nuance, right?
Yeah, it's a weird nuance. And yeah, you want this, like I said, when you need magic damage and you can stack it, they need to have melee, tanky, bruiserish champions, maybe a Samira if it's some kind of ADK that you'd want this against. Because if you can't stack it, there's not much point into having it. You can just go for the same reason, like I said, you need magic damage. You can just go Frostfire, for example, which is really good against squishier, assassin type champions, because it gives a bit more stats. Obviously, you pay less for Sunfire and Frostfire and Camp Tank. You pay less for them, and then you get more stats on the Mythic passive. You also get a bit of size, which increases your auto attack range very slightly. I don't think that matters much. And you get the slow. So if you have champions like Zed, Kiana, maybe Lilia, Echo, whatever, you'll really like this item, because if they dash onto you and then they get slowed, it's a lot easier to deal with them. You can even peel a bit better with this item. It's just, the point is that you can't stack Sunfire, so it's gonna be pretty useless. So it's better to go for these items, which also accelerate your build by 400 gold, which is not that
substantial.
Bad,
yeah, that's substantial.
Yeah. And if there are like 4 or 5 ranged champions, I go for Camp Tank sometimes. And the thing about Camp Tank is that the damage is dealt as burst instead of over time, like the other items. Even Frostfire has a bit more burst than Sunfire. Like you see, does 64 on the auto attack when you apply it. But Chem Tank is even more burst, and against range and squishy champions, you are obviously going to hit them here and there once you probably want to catch them, burst them with your team or whatever. So this damage is going to be really meaningful. You see I have 130 right now, and if you would deal this damage over time, like for example old Chem Tank was like this before they changed it this season, you deal it over time. But with the burst, it's a lot easier to kill squishy champions, and this adds up. Like usually Chem Tank does quite a lot of damage. This is why it was preferred on Hecarim as well for a while. I don't know if they still build it. Yeah,
no, this is good. This is a good rundown, dude. This is really good.
Yeah, I hope it makes sense. And this is obviously all for the Armax build. And another thing you can do on the Armax, I'll explain why I max Q as well sometimes, of course. But Triforce is also really good on Udyr. Like, this is probably overall his best item, even compared to Sunfire, because you get a lot of stats that you like, and the passive is very powerful on Udyr because, well, look at his base CD. You see here 149 base CD. That's one of the highest in the game, and you play a champion that can cast abilities at will. You don't even have cast times or anything, you just press abilities and you can proc Triforce off cooldown. So obviously it's a really good item. Even Shin early game, Udyr early game easily gets to like 100 base AD, which is almost as some champions have at 18, you know. Just really high base AD. That makes Shin early game really good on Udyr. It's probably the best item you can get, especially because you don't have AD ratio on Armax. And then once you complete the Triforce, you get movement speed, attack speed, which you really want, especially because this is a 3-hit passive, so attack speed helps. And once you stack it, it just does an insane amount of damage overall. Once I have this stacked, 360 physical damage at level 18. It's just kind of massive, because I can proc the passive almost whenever I want, like every 2 seconds. And it's easier to play like in and out. You can like just go for a quick trade, then disengage, play the fight slower, front to back, you know. It really helps with the Trinity Force proc.
Sweet.
Also has a nice build pet, and you want to go for this item when you need more physical damage or like hybrid damage. Maybe you have a lot of magic damage on your team and you expect the enemy team to build MR or at least Mercs, so Triforce is going to be better. It also allows you to build differently, and I guess I should explain more why, because for example when I go Sunfire I have different legendaries I would go for, right? I usually go Cosmic Drive with Sunfire, and Cosmic Drive is really nice on Udyr because you get quite a lot of damage but quite a lot of tankiness as well. And what I mean by that is that you have an AP ratio on your shield, so AP makes you tankier, HP makes you tankier, haste makes you tankier, and MS makes you more or less tankier because you dodge spells, you get in and out of fights, whatever. So all of these stats make you tankier. And Cosmic Drive, although it's a damage item, it also is kind of a tank item for Udyr. It's not like you
that makes sense.
will become squishy if you build Cosmic Drive. You will still stay really tanky and deal a lot of damage with Sunfire and Cosmic Drive. Obviously, haste is kind of a luxury on Udyr. You don't really need that much haste on this champion, but it's not useless, it's pretty good. But just because you don't have haste in an Udyr build doesn't mean it's a bad build, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
And it's another sweet spot with Cosmic Drive and Sunfire Cape. You have 4 seconds cooldown on your spells, and as you can see, the aura on the Phoenix is 4 seconds. So because the spell is 4 seconds, you can have it permanently up once you get 50 haste like this.
Got it.
You maximize damage that way. And I like getting it because I max W second. Now, Do you want me to explain why max W is second right now, or we can just
we can
go over it later?
Well, let's finish off a build.
It's kind of a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm down to listen to all of it, but the problem is I have to go to the gym at 4. So let's finish off a build and get into a game, and then we'll talk about the reason that you maxed while we're in like queue or something. But let's finish the build off.
Yeah. Okay. I always try to get Cosmic Drive. Obviously, I'll get like a Warden's Mail after Sapphire Cape if I really need it, or a Bramble Vest, or a Negatron Cloak.
So this is your standard core. Like if you were just, let's say you're just smurfing and you would autopilot build. Like you want to just be like me and stream, interact with chat, and just smurf on kids with full clear. It would probably be these.
Yeah, it would probably be these with most likely Conqueror on this build.
Okay.
Maybe I get a Dark Seal if I feel like getting it. It's pretty good on Udyr.
Got it.
And I just build tank. Like for example, Spirit Visage obviously really good on Udyr, shielding, healing, likes that. Force of Nature, if you can stack it. I like Spirit Visage more if I like enchanters and stuff, obviously. And then depending on the game, I will usually get a Gargoyle by this point. It's a very strong item, and keep in mind the resist and everything make the shield and heal more efficient. So it makes your EHP overall go through the roof. Resists are really efficient on Udyr, more than any HP item or whatever. And late game, even though I don't have AD ratios on this build, unless I press like 1 point in Q, it does decent damage even in late game. I still buy this sometimes because you get 60 AD at level 18, which is quite a lot, and you get the big shield. The item got nerfed obviously, but in late game it's still really good on this kind of champions, like super high base AD.
Cool.
Yeah, you just hit them with the base damage, and other items, I guess. Frozen Heart is usually what I would get like third item against AD, maybe like a Thornmail. Randuin is only really good if they have AD Assassins, Samira, stuff like that. Against auto attackers, Frozen Heart is always better. Even if they are crit AD carries, Frozen Heart is still better. Because would you rather have 20% reduced attack speed forever, or 20% crit for 4 seconds if you have the active? I mean, even if they're 100% crit, Frozen Heart is going to be more efficient. And by the time you build this item, they don't even have that much crit. They have like maybe 40, 60. So Randuin is a kind of a bait item usually. Frozen Heart is pretty broken, really cheap.
Yeah, I've seen it a lot. I've seen it on a lot of people lately, just putting a Frozen Heart in their build. Yeah, so I totally agree with that.
Yeah, so when I go Triforce, the thing is that I don't have to go Cosmic Drive or something else with AP. So I can just go straight up into Frozen Heart, Force of Nature or something, while if I go the other build, I have to delay, for example, having both Frozen Heart and Force of Nature for my fourth item, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes this will go into my decision making. I really want both Frozen Heart and Force of Nature or Spirit Visage or something. So I'll go Triforce to speed up my build with one item to get these powerful defensive options, because maybe they have like, I don't know, Malzahar and Kog'Maw or something, so I really need both ASAP or I lose the game, you know? I'll just get Triforce to not delay them by building like Cosmic Drive. Because the thing is, like, if you go full tank Udyr, obviously I can have Sunfire instead of this, but I don't really like it. I don't think it's that good to go like pure tank Udyr, especially in solo queue. Maybe in pro play you can do it, for example, but
yeah,
in solo queue, like I said, Cosmic Drive already makes you really tanky, so you should almost always go with that build.
Cool.
And I also like Deadman's Plate. And
what, Deadman's Plate first?
Very underrated. No.
Okay.
Second item
After Triforce.
on the Triforce build. Sometimes I go it even on the other build, but with Cosmic Drive you don't need that much movement speed. The reason why this item is very underrated is because it kind of acts like on hit. So I'll just take Triforce here so you can clearly see the damage. This 254, right? And if I move a bit, then my Deadman's Plate adds extra damage. You see?
Oh,
It's like kind of like on hit.
I didn't
Quite a
notice
lot
that.
of damage. And then
Yeah,
you,
I didn't notice
and then
that.
you move a bit like this. Yeah. Like I tried testing Deadman's Plate and Death Dance damage, comparing stuff like this, and it actually out damage. If you don't have like high AD ratios, it's quite a lot of damage. Like see, I'm getting even 50 extra damage or more, it depends. Like obviously you'll get kited, maybe you get CC'd when you break out of the CC and you auto take. You get a lot of damage. Even the burst is nice, and it obviously works a bit better with Triforce because this thing scales with base AD now. I think it says, yeah, it's 100 base AD full stacks and then a bit more physical damage. So it does a lot of damage. I see it more of a damage item. They nerfed the tank stats quite a bit. You only get 300 HP. They're not bad stats. You only pay like 900 gold to get like 5 armor and the passive, but the passive is a lot of damage. And sometimes I go Triforce simply because I really want Deadman's Plate in that game to have as much mobility as possible, like gap closing power. And usually want like one movement speed on Udyr, one movement speed item on Udyr. That's my general rule. I want either Cosmic Drive or Lich Bane or Force of Nature or Deadman's Plate as my second or third item. And for this build I always go Lich Bane because the build path is really good. You get nice stats. And in those situations where you fight squishy champions, you can easily burst them with Lich Bane. If you go Frostfire or Camp Tank, I go for Lich Bane. If I go Sunfire, I go for Cosmic Drive. Just forgot that little detail. I think that's about it for these builds. I can just quickly go over QMax builds, like just
let's hop in Q real quick, and we'll talk about that. I will share.
Go Q, no big deal.
Yeah, I'll share my screen. You can see it, right?
Yeah.
We'll get into this.
I knew that this is gonna be a lot to talk about, and I tend to over-explain a bit, maybe, but just want to get the point across.
No, honestly, no. It's the only reason I'm kind of rushing into Q. I'm not trying to be. I actually like that you're explaining it. I like that you have a reason for everything. Honestly. Okay, that's a flash. Goodbye. What are we doing?